More importantly, Damien,
yeah,
have you seen the Pokemon situation right now?
I can't avoid it because my son
It's
pins
lit
me
out
at the
there.
front door every day when I get home and tells me about all the new Pokemon that he caught that day.
So the thing is, this stupid game. It's unreliable. It is. Oh, look, there's a
Sucking
new
you
one.
back in, doesn't it?
I have solutions for this problem.
See, that's a new one.
Oh, yeah.
That's a new one. Brand new guy.
Yeah. Fitzwilliam has like 20 new Pokemon or something in the last week.
The thing is that the game is unrieliable. It crashes all the time. It's amateurishly written. It is just a crap game. But they finally figured out after 12 failed stupid updates that all we want are new Pokemon. Like there's 700 Pokemon to choose from. They should be able to update this thing to the end of time and keep adding more Pokemon. Yeah. And the other thing is that what value, and then it just crashed. Awesome. Now it's crashing on launch. I mean, this is it, right? It's just, and it takes it takes longer to boot my phone.
Oh, I know, it's crazy. This app. For a while, Fitzwilliams wouldn't work unless he disabled the GPS before launching the app. And then you'd have to wait for the app to fail and say, can't get GPS. And then you would enable the GPS and it would work. Because if you tried to launch it with GPS on, it would just crash.
Yep.
Yeah. But he loves it. They play it on the school bus.
Yeah, I had shut it off completely.
I haven't played because he keeps asking me, Dad, have you caught a new Pokemon? I'm like, I don't walk around catching Pokemon anymore. And I don't happen to be in a place like you, it seems, where you can just open it and there are Pokemon around.
Every time I open it now with the new update, there's new Pokemon around, which is what I think is important for this game is that it is.
Yeah.
Like, just give us new Pokemon. Like
you want it to be evergreen.
They don't cost you anything. Like, why are you so mean? Why bogart the Pokemon?
I mean, if it literally opened in under 5 seconds, I'd play it a lot more, I think.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's that like, oh, if I even try, it'll be 2 minutes before I'm at the point I can actually catch a Pokemon. It's just not worth
and
it.
It's such a ridiculously it's slow and it's buggy. There's a bug right now. There's a bug right now that if the watch app is running and the phone app runs at the same time, they crash. And it's just like, does anyone test this thing? There's 20 million people using it.
Yep.
Anyway, okay.
Your video looks pretty good today, by the way.
Speaking of my video, I am getting my 4K Logitech.
Oh, really? Are they sending you
on Wednesday? No, I just paid for it.
You paid for it? Yeah, I saw it. Which one did you get? Did you get the Pro one that has the consumer name or the consumer one that has the Pro name?
Okay, now you're telling me that there's more than one?
So there's two that are the same camera with a different cabling system. And the one that is considered the Pro model has a funny consumer sounding name. And the one that is the consumer model says Pro on it. The Ars Technica did an article on this. And they were like, Logitech, like, we're not the only ones that suck at naming, it turns out. But I've been very keen to see this thing. I think the only difference is like the Pro one.
I got the Brio.
Yeah, that's the Pro one. So it has different cables, like a USB-C cable, and then a different cable header, so you can plug it into different things.
I don't have USB-C.
I mean, it has adapters. I think the Pro one has more adapters and stuff. Anyway,
do I need to get USB-C for this?
No, you can just. I think it comes with other adapters. That was the whole point of the Pro.
No, but like USB-C, do I need to get like a USB-C card?
What for?
Like,
no, you're not going to. I mean, only if you have something that would warrant the transfer speeds and or power delivery.
So I've got USB
3.1A.
Do I don't freaking know. I have USB 3, and I've got this thing here that's like
so that's 5 gigabits per second. That'll be the initial USB.
Is that enough?
Spec. Oh yeah.
I got this thing. I got a bunch of them.
Almost certain. Whereas USB 3.1A does 10 gigabits per second. And then USB-C, you can do Thunderbolt 3 over if the controller supports it, which does 40 gigabits per second.
USB-C. So I would need a card for my computer that would expand.
Yeah, because you have like a hella old desktop.
It's not that old. So look at this here.
2011, I think you said.
$16 PCI Express card.
How many lanes does it use?
I don't know what a lane is.
PCI Express lane. 2 or 4. How big is the PCI Express connector on the bottom?
It's tiny.
Oh, it's probably 2 lanes then.
Well, for $20.
So Nick is saying you will need USB 3.1 Gen 2 Plus for the bandwidth. Now I don't know if he's referring to a general comment, as in more bandwidth is better, or if
you're saying to do 4K
for that camera, you will need that. Now, that doesn't sound right because a 4K stream is like 28 megabits per second on YouTube. So I don't know why you would need 5 gigabits per second to get 4K out of your camera. USB 3 should be perfectly fine, which does 5 gigabits per second, you know, bench.
So there's a $24 card here that has USB 3.1, super speed 10 gigabits.
Yeah.
3 amps of charging power. It's $25. That seems nice, right? I should get that.
Is it a reputable?
I don't know. It has 500 5-star whatevers.
That's probably good enough then. Is that Newegg?
No, it's Rosewill.
Oh yeah, no, I've got a couple of Rosewill things.
So I mean, and I always do this. I look at the thing, I see if it has a lot of reviews, and I scroll down and see if someone else, like, people buy this one.
Yeah.
Instead.
So I do that, and then I buy something, and then I sits in the box, and I never install it at home. So I
don't do that.
I got like IEEE 1394 cards and a couple other things sitting in boxes I've never gotten around to, because I need it for like one job, and then I buy it, and then I just kind of get over it, and then I don't do it anymore.
That is a first world problem right there.
Yeah, your video's gone to hell now, by the way.
No, my video is fantastic.
No, it's gone to hell right now.
John?
Yes.
Tell Damien that it's actually his fault.
John's video looks great.
Wasn't
John,
watching.
Are you deleting email? What are you doing?
I'm reading a magazine.
Are you literally reading a magazine?
Yes, I got a stack of Wired magazines. I don't finish them, so.
So John's video looks sharp. You look like you have a potato wrapped in Vaseline dipped in guacamole as your camera lens.
That's
you do look pixely.
Thank you. It is not us, Scott. You. We do this every week.
Feel and look great.
Okay, that's all that matters.
All right.
Although when I go to the YouTube thing, I'm seeing internal server error.
Oh.
In a frame. So this is what I'm seeing right now. This is the chat.
Oh, I'm not seeing that. My chat's working.
Look at this here.
Yes, and it's our internet. That's the problem.
Dude, I don't think that qualifies as internet problem.
Your video sucks and your chat doesn't work, and it's our internet that's the problem. Dear.
Yeah, see, he's telling me Gen 2 for the... I can't trust these stack.
He just says for the bandwidth. He didn't qualify that as you will need that for that camera in order to do 4K. But get the camera, it's on its way, and then plug it in.
Well, it's already there, but now I want to get this card, and then I'm going to have to open my computer up.
Yes, that is unfortunate.
Well, but I don't know. I could plug in the plethora of USB-C stuff that I have, which is 0.
This is 0. Honestly, I think the camera will work just fine over normal USB 3.
You think so?
Yes. I would be amazed if it really requires more than a few hundred megabits per second.
I'm looking at this Anchor 10-port hub.
For like with USB 3? You have USB 3 though, right?
I do, but it's one of the. I feel like I'm jiggling it a lot.
Yeah. So
it's just a flaky hub.
I bought an Amazon Basics USB 3 hub a few weeks ago to plug my new 1080p capture card into through the wall, and totally didn't work at all. Like the capture card would refuse to do anything when it was in the hub, and when I plugged it in with an extension cable instead, and then it worked. So.
Well, I need to save my money right now. I want to buy a Nintendo Switch, so I need to get my priorities.
I thought you've ordered one already. You haven't ordered one?
I've ordered it, but I have to pay for it though, and I only get so much allowance every week, so I have to.
This is indeed. This is true. Fair enough. All right, maybe we should stop talking about random hardware rubbish and. Oh, here we go. Nick just said, just about trying to move on. I get pulled back in. Just double check. It needs USB 3 5 gig for 4K. So that's just Gen 1. So your normal USB 3 will work.
Yeah, but as with all USB things, it'll make my mouse move slow when it's doing its job.
The hub will probably cause you to hate yourself.
I think I'll probably just buy this $20 card because it says super speed. Must be
super speed is what they called like USB. The very first USB 3 spec was super speed, I think.
But it's got a lot of buzzwords.
It even has a little logo, like 2 S's with a cable, like a little arrow on the top of it.
Too late. Anyway. I've already bought it.
Get the monster cable.
Get the monster cable. Get the fiber optic USB cable.
It's in my my budget for today, so I'm going to go ahead and just pick that up. Cool. All right. Hello, friends. It is the ASP.NET Community Stand-Up also known as Two Old Guys, Three Old Guys Talk About Technology. We
3 old guys spend Scott's money.
Yeah, really. Pretty soon it's going to be 3 old bald guys, which is a problem.
Hey!
We need
I have pretty hair. I choose to shave my hair.
We need more guests.
No bald spot.
Do you all want? Oh, man, I'm trying to get my
shoulder
to work. Yeah, doesn't quite work yet. Do you all want guests? Do you want us to bring other people on? I thought it would be cool to maybe bring some of the engineers from the .NET team on, talk about, maybe we could have like an episode where we talk about continuous integration, talk about like our CI system that builds all the different frameworks. If you're interested, you have to convince Damien because he doesn't want you to talk to anyone. John, why don't we start with you and go over some of your meticulously well-managed
John loves community.
I do love community.
Take it away, John.
All right, here we go. Michael Crump is on day 7 of a 7-day series thus far, creating a ASP.NET Core application. These are always cool when someone kind of does a long-running series, so this is a cool one here. We've got a few from Andrew Locke, 2 posts looking at the middleware analysis package, which this is another one that had gotten by me. When did this one happen, Damien? There's like middleware analysis package?
Never heard of it.
This is really cool. So
never heard of it.
Yeah, okay. So what it's doing is it's inserting all this other additional diagnostic stuff into to help you debug what's happening with your middleware. So he's actually got a cool, it's in the next one. Post number 1, he shows plugging it in and the additional information you get out of it. Post number 2, he digs into how it works. And there's a really cool diagram in here, which I'm scrolling super fast to get to. But this is kind of conceptually, it's inserting itself between each middleware and then logging all this cool stuff out. So he lists some different things that you could use this for, just understanding, debugging, performance, whatever. So very cool stuff there. 2 things on this middleware analysis package. Speaking of middleware, we've got 2 Martins talking to you about middleware. This is a relatively short, easy to watch, fun show. It's under 15 minutes. And so they go through and talk about creating a custom 404 middleware. Most of the use here, I think, it's great because this shows you just kind of introduction to middleware, creating a simple one and showing how it's working and stuff. So nice under 15-minute look at creating custom middleware. Here's one from Khalid, and this is looking at getting the current route name from ASP.NET Web API request. So going through and getting the current route name. So useful thing to know. Okay, we've got a few Docker-related things. So this one is a series on ASP.NET Core with SQL Server in Azure Container Service. So different ways of hosting Docker, running Docker. This one is Docker Swarm in Azure Container Service. And he's working through not just, one type of container running a web app, but also hooking up with networking with SQL Server. So nice, 3-part series. Here's the first one he's going through. Also speaking about containers, this is a nice useful one from Jeff Fritz. So this is talking about, this is classic ASP. This is WCF, right? So this is not .NET Core, but this is something that you would run into potentially as you're migrating an application to .NET Core, and you've got an existing WCF service. And so this is nice in terms of, he's showing sample, getting it set up, migrating this over to WCF, and then he kind of ends up with, here are some reasons you do this. So yeah, nice post.
That's cool.
Here is a cool post. I always like featuring Ben Cole's blog, partly because when you mouse over his logo, it just does crazy things, and I could do this all day.
That's just showing off.
Yeah, it is. So this is a great post, very quick read, but super useful. This is on using this Fluent email package to send emails using Mailgun and Razor. So sending emails, sending efficient, working emails that aren't going to go in a spam box or whatever is hard to do. So this is always great. I like seeing that kind of guidance on how to do that. All right, a couple on templates. Here we have one from Rahan Sahid, and here he's talking about the MVC6 API boilerplate. So this is cool. Updates on that.
The stuff that, seriously though, you should dig deeper into this, because the stuff that Rahan Saeed is doing here is extremely useful. And if you want to get jump started, with stuff, this is almost like File New Project, but like on steroids. Yeah. And what's nice about it is that if you recall, I did a blog post, and Syed Hashimi did a blog post about the new .NET New experience. So if you scroll down just a smidge and hit a little Control Plus for me,
which is being massively well received, by the way. It's probably, that was a terrible combination of words, but it's being very well received.
Massively well received.
Yeah.
Go down, down, down.
Where are we going?
You're scrolling. Here, Control
F. That's how I go down.
Control F .NET space new. There you go.
You freaking your scrolling.
So go down a little bit more. There you go. Look at that.
Awesome.
I'm gonna do that right now. That's how cool this is, right? .NET new -- install boilerplate.
And that's actually.
Now I'm trying to get rid of that star weird thing. That right there, that colon star. That's a version thing. I think it should be -v, which is the way it's done everywhere else.
Well, you shouldn't have to specify a version at all. It should just be it's on the list. They're going to do it. It's just time.
So now, look at that. I just did that. It's done.
And now you can do.
And now I'm going to go and say .NET new BAPI, and boom. And now I got my boilerplate.
Are we supposed to be looking at something? I'm just looking at you talking.
You can't see it. Well, it's here. Let's just do this. You can hear me talking about how amazing my experience is. I'm taking over, John. Boom. Right? So I go and I say this, having done it just this moment. Now it says installed. And this is all disk access right now, which is kind of sucks. I feel like we need dots anytime we're doing anything. This is unzipping.
Or that little spinning ASCII thing.
See that right there? Like, how would I know? Right? Yeah. I know because of Task Manager. And this is an i7, right? So this is all just messing around. I like to say we're in some dude's for loop right now, or some young lady's for loop, and we're stuck here. And I just need a ... There you go. So now check it. Look, I've got Angular. That's all the stuff from before. Added here, BAPI. So then we go desktop. Galloway sucks.
No.
Say .NET new.
That's like having your boss call you out as sucking live.
Now I got Galloway.
Now he's going to push it to GitHub, and people.
Yeah, exactly. This whole thing is going to get pushed to GitHub. It's magical.
It's the new iBuySpy.
Opportunity here. ... Spinning ASCII. There should be an ASCII Mr. Spock or something. Remember, the new Microsoft uses ASCII. That is a requirement. We do. Okay. You didn't know that?
Sure.
Like if you have to use ASCII.
Like the EF one and the Azure Tools one.
Oh yeah.
You have to put as much ASCII as possible so that people don't think we're evil. See? That's required.
At some point that wraps around.
Disarming.
But look at this. This is what I was telling you about, Damien. This restore.
Yeah. I know, I can totally get it.
Just fill it with dots.
Sure. Something should be there.
I'm gonna go. There you go. See? And then it goes again, and then it's all disk, right?
I mean, I'd like to know why does it take so long?
Well, why does it take so long is a good thing. But entertain me while, like, show a YouTube or something. Or
at a minimum, do what they do on the Windows Update, where they'll say this will take this will take some time. We haven't gone to sleep. Something like there's a really nice. There you go. Do this. Have you ever seen this? This is great.
Yeah, the Rick Astley one.
Yeah, so while I am being forced to wait for NuGet, which I think is still going.
We have an ASCII Scott Gu and an ASCII Dan Roth that we put in a tag hopper that the interns did, if you remember, on this show. We could random ASP.NET team members.
Yeah, this would be great
or .NET team members.
In lieu of actually figuring out what it's doing.
This is the hard-hitting tech journalism right here.
And look at that. Come on, do that while NuGet is restoring.
Did you take over my community links to show Rick Astley? Was that what happened?
I'm just saying that the work that Rahan Seed has done is magical. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
Is that what you're saying? I lost track.
I may have just rickrolled everyone. So kudos. Sorry, I just was going to take over.
Are we back to me?
We are, sadly.
Oh no. But so actually, you did remind me. That was that was my 1 week link here. That's why I added that this week, is because that was the new support they added. So that's the cool thing. The boilerplate we've called out tons of times. The fact that they've added it with .NET New, that's an exciting thing. Along that line, we also have another one, another post, and this is, oh gosh, Pioneer Code. I forget your name, but he goes through as well and shows here's how you can create one of those. So kind of running through all the newest stuff and very cool. So 2 things on that. What's this? Who are you? Well, it was Chad. Yeah, Chad Ramos. So he's going through and explaining, kind of walking you through all this step by step, how to create those project templates, show up in .NET New. Great. Okay, moving to front end stuff. So there's .vvm, which allows you to do stuff like this. This is a MVVM type system with tag helpers and all that kind of stuff. And they as well have set this up so you can do .NET New .vvm. So I think
.NET New is just the hotness right now.
Yeah, it's all over the place. So that's nice to see all these things popping up and
that didn't take long at all.
No, really quick.
I knew it would be awesome. I'm telling you, it's the new hotness.
Yeah. All right.
And take over the world.
Here's another neat thing for the front end. Dan Roth pointed this out to me yesterday. So this is tag helpers to make it easier to do. These are tag helpers for JQ widgets, which is a jQuery based kind of front end thing. So here they've got some tag helpers with Bootstrap and jQuery. And so as an example, if we look at like chart, I think you've got a chart based one here, right? So they've got several neat things where you just go through and you use their tag helpers, and you can create all these cool, things. So it's, if writing hand coding all the Bootstrap class names is not your thing, this kind of does that for you. It makes it easier to do it in a tag helper kind of way. So here's that chart one I was going to call out. Neat. All right, a few other kind of just announcement-y kind of things. I saw this come across. Katana has moved to GitHub, so it was open source. It was out on Codeplex. Now it's on GitHub. So neat. XUnit release. So this is a 2.2 release. Big things in this release: 2017 support, Visual Studio 2017 supports with CS Proj support. So that's kind of the big thing there. There's also some other kind of nice features in there. There's detection for tests running too long, and a lot of new asserts features. So Hugh Bellamy contributed all that stuff, or most of that stuff, with the improved assertions. So exciting release. And then 2 cool lists that I just had seen float around before, but just wanted to call out here. This was awesome.net. So if we look at there's web. So there's a ton. This is a list of just cool open source .NET stuff. But he's got a few here, like if you go into like web frameworks, where he calls out in this page, and it's going to hang on me, which is cool. But right. So this is just a neat place too, if you want to dig deeper into what are some other neat open source things that people are building. Cool. And when I tweeted about this one, then Rich Lander reminded me of this one, which is one that he maintains. So again, this is just neat open source .NET stuff. And for instance, in the web CMS area, there's tons of web frameworks, static site generators, web marketplace, CMS. So treasure trove of neat open source .NET stuff, a lot of good web related stuff. And I am done.
Done and done.
Magical. All right. Demo.
Yeah.
How are things?
Good. I was shopping for a SpaceX t-shirt yesterday because after watching the Stick Another Landing and bringing tears to my eyes every time I see that thing, because it's just so awesome in the original meaning of that word. Like the awe leaked out of my head and onto my cheek. It's just incredible to watch that marvel of engineering, and like it's still hard to believe it's real when you see like they've seen the drone footage they have now. So they have a camera drone a couple miles off the landing pad, and you can see, like, even through the clouds, you can see the thing come down and stick the landing. And then trying to explain to my kids how big that rocket is and how this isn't just like, oh yeah, they landed a rocket, no big deal. Like I said, when I said to my daughter, I said, oh, what does that look like? And she's like, it's a rocket. And I said, what is it doing? She goes, landing. And I'm like, doesn't that just blow your brain? And she's like, it's a rocket, it's landing. I'm like, it's a rocket. It's 9 stories tall.
Yeah, I went and took the boys to see this stupid movie called, well, my wife forced us to go see this movie called The Space Between Us. It's about this little boy who grows up on Mars. And
is that good? Was it any good?
It's fine. It's cute. It was great. It was cute, but the science was just so off,
Oh, okay.
And then, he comes to Earth.
Yeah.
And he meets this girl that he's been chatting with over, I don't know, Slipstream, Ansible, faster than light chat.
I actually get that reference because I read the book.
Yes, thank you. So then, they go off on a road trip, right? Because that's what you do. And then, then all the government starts chasing after him like ET style because his heart's too big,
Oh, because he grew up in like low.
Because he grew up in low gravity, right? So now he has an enlarged heart. So the whole his heart's too big thing is like a thing.
Oh, that has double meaning.
So anyway, so then they send him back to Mars, to live because he'll die otherwise, and then she has to go to training to become an astronaut to go visit him or whatever.
You spoiled the movie.
I'm pretty sure that you can figure out what happens.
I'm pretty sure I saw the preview and it told me all that.
The preview shows everything.
Yeah.
The point is that everything, they're shuttling him the freak back they're shuttling him back and forth between the two, like between Mars and here, like it's no big deal.
Wait, doesn't it take like 6 to 12 months depending on when you leave?
So they yada through that.
Oh, I see.
That 6 months, like, oh, where you been? Oh, you ghosted on me. Well, I was traveling. It took a while. That was
okay. Yeah, that would be a little annoying. So I did that this weekend. We had a 3-day weekend, and the kids are still at home because it's midwinter break here. And what else did we do? We did some. I did some cleaning up in my garage, and I bought some kayaks. Did you know it's nearly summer, or at least if you walk into a shop, you would think it was nearly summer because all the summer stuff is out in the shop, or even though we're not even, I think today we're now 2 months into winter. So I had to buy my summer recreational gear this weekend. Otherwise I'll miss out if I leave it 2 weeks because they won't be there anymore. So I did that. And now I have a new problem, which is I need to find somewhere to store 2 12-foot kayaks in my house, other than just on the floor in the garage. But work stuff, lots of stuff going on. We obviously, as I've been saying the last few weeks, shutting down for the VS 2017 launch, which also is the launch of .NET Core tooling. Finally, where this is a year after we shipped RC2, which was around February last year, and at the same time we announced that we were moving from Project JSON to CS Proj, and hence we never RTM'd the tooling part. We are finally going to hit there, so that'll be on March 7 when VS 2017 launches. It'll be the same time that we launch the .NET Core tooling for all platforms. It's not just in VS 2017, but the VS Code stuff, the command line stuff, all that stuff will happen there. And so there's not much for us to be doing that now because we're at that point where only the most important, most critical fixes are going in. We're working on the next release on 2.0, which we've talked about a little bit. We haven't really made an official, here's the 2.0 like roadmap and stuff. I mean, the roadmap mentions 2.0 on both the .NET site and the ASP.NET site, and there's a high level sort of bullet points of some stuff. But I will, over the next week or so, publish our sort of bigger list of big rocks for 2.0. Fair warning, it's not a huge list because we don't have a lot of time. There's really some very core fundamental things we're trying to fix in 2.0, and they're mostly gear around .NET Standard 2, which is the massive bringing back of tens of thousands of APIs, and fixing some fundamental parts of how .NET Core works as a platform. So what gets shipped as a package versus what's shipped in the shared framework, how you acquire those things, what happens when I publish something that's in a package versus in the shared framework, how can I trim my published application so that it's as small as possible, because I may already have assets on the server. We're making some fundamental changes there that we think will vastly improve sort of that aspect of the platform. And then there are some features on top of as well as that. But those are the main focus, is kind of fixing these low-level experience and sort of architectural issues. And then like feature-wise, we're doing Razor Pages, which I've talked about, which is probably the big feature from ASP.NET Core that we're doing. We're doing some work in Kestrel. So we continue to work on making Kestrel safe to use as an edge server. So that involves, pen testing, it involves adding timeouts, it involves a whole bunch of things. We're continuing to work on that, and I'll be the first to let you know when we're happy to tell you that you can use Kestrel without a reverse proxy if you wish to do so.
Is there just a sec there? One of the things that you end up doing with an edge server is that they're partly there to restart the process if it dies, or monitor the process.
Yep.
Is there something that Kestrel will eventually do for that?
Nothing planned around that at the moment. Like the intent would be, because that is actually an entirely separate concern that often does get rolled into the same component. So IIS with the ASP.NET Core module does that, and NGINX has things. Some people use systemd on Linux, but they are ultimately separate concerns. You can have a totally different thing that monitors a process and starts it and then restarts it in case it goes wrong, which has nothing to do with network connectivity or whatever. But sometimes it's nice to combine them, because then you can do things like lazy process activation, like IIS and WAS does on Windows, whereby we don't start the application process until a request comes in. That is sometimes desirable, other times it doesn't really matter. And so we kind of want the flexibility to do all those things. So that's why it's important to be able to have it act as an edge server. There's also, if you're running it somewhat behind the firewall, there are still protections that you want to have in place to protect against rogue, whether it's actual people or just rogue processes or bad code or things like that. It's nice to have these protections in place. So there's some stuff there. Some people are talking about the GitHub sponsorship deal. I actually have the GitHub t-shirt on today as well. So the other stuff in Kestrel is we're replumbing entirely the sort of underpinnings of Kestrel. We did a whole bunch of custom work in Kestrel to integrate with libuv and make it very, very fast by writing custom memory pools and managers and custom threading model and those type of things. We're doing a lot of work with the .NET team to come up to work on this new thing, system.io.pipelines, and then a whole bunch of text-based and memory-based primitives around that makes doing the type of things that we did in Kestrel more mainstream, like they become first-class codified APIs. We just checked in that merge last week, and now we're going through and fixing all the performance, because doing that regressed all our performance by like 3 or 4 times. So now we have to go through that process of finding all the performance things that we haven't done yet and fixing them. But we're confident we can do that. I mean, if people remember back to 2015, it was November, and we were doing less than 100,000 requests per second. And then by Christmas, we were doing over 1 million. So we're confident we can make massive gains in performance, assuming that the gains are there to be made in a fairly short amount of time. So that's going on as well. Nick is asking about one of my things that I yell about a lot around here. I don't yell. One of the things I implore passionately about HTTP2. We don't have firm plans for getting HTTP2 in Kestrel in 2.0 at this point. We just don't have the time. But the work I've just talked about is a precursor to doing that. I would very much like to get HTTP2 support in Kestrel before the end of this year. We just need to figure out how to make that happen. Because it's not a trivial task. HTTP2 is like a fundamentally different protocol. It's an awful lot of work. But we absolutely need to do it. The Signaler work is ongoing. That's not going to ship in 2.0. It'll be in an update after that, probably in 2.1 towards the end of the year, because it's a fairly large body. We did a talk on that. If you want to watch the talk that David and I did at NDC London on ASP.NET sockets and Signaler, then you can watch that. It gives us a good overview of that. And there's a bunch of smaller things. There's middleware improvements. We're making some improvements to our memory cache implementation, which had some fundamental issues in 1.0. The response caching has some stuff we want to do. And then there's smaller things. The tail gets smaller and smaller from there. But as I said, we don't have an awful lot of time. Currently, the timelines are we're trying to get a preview of this 2.0 sort of wave, including Net Standard 2, which a lot of people are waiting for. out sort of around May. So that's not much time. Like it's less than 3 months away. And then hoping to ship that within a month or two after that. Again, these aren't promises. Please don't ever interpret me giving, roadmaps are not promises. I still see people complain about when a roadmap changes or something isn't delivered, and they say, oh, this is a month after you said it would be on the roadmap. It's like, well, the roadmap was written a year ago, and it's a roadmap. It's not a timeline that we are promising we're going to deliver and cut features on. Like, we put this out there just to give people an idea of the order that we want to do things in and a rough idea of how long we think it'll do. Yes, I said the word promises. Thanks, Tom. You heard promises. You didn't hear me make any. I heard promises,
and I tweeted that you promised it just now. I'm going to delete that.
Great. So this is Damien's last show ever. But I will get the ASP.NET roadmap updated very soon, so you can see the same sort of big rocks list that we're working from now. So that's going on. So that's basically what we're focusing on day to day, which is all good. It's all good.
Cool.
Yeah. And the laptop's going well, except for the keyboard, and they have sent me a replacement unit.
They're sending you to replace an entire computer.
An entire, because it's in the first month. They'll just send me an entire, because it's considered an out-of-box error, or defective unit. They have already shipped me a complete replace unit, and then I'll just reset this one, send it back to them, and then I'll have a new one. And hopefully that fixes the spacebar.
Cool. We have an 11 o'clock, so we can't go too long.
No, we can answer a couple of questions, unless you want to have a comment first.
Well, yeah, let's do a couple. Let's like 2 technical questions, and then there was one question about the JetBrains debugger that I'll end on.
Okay.
So a couple of technical questions.
Yes, Thomas asked any updates on OData Web API support. So we literally had a meeting with the OData team last week, and they are currently investigating the feasibility. It's probably too strong a word. They're currently investigating how much work it would be to build and ship a new OData API implementation on top of ASP.NET Core, and then based on how much work they think that is, they'll make an assessment on when or if and all that type of stuff. I will say that the OData libraries themselves now support .NET Core, so you can run them on .NET Core. It's just the web API layer that we don't have an equivalent for. Although I do know of customers and teams that have written their own OData sort of layer on top of Web API, because the big thing there is, what routing do you use? How do you do query parsing? How does model binding work and all that type of stuff? But that's the update I have on that. No hard plans, but the meetings are taking place. Any plan for, this is a question from Shafuddin, any plan for theme builder for ASP.NET Core or ASP.NET? No, not that I know, or not from us anyway. I don't think we've ever really, the only theme builder type thing we ever shipped was in ASP.NET 1. We had some VS tooling for like picking a theme, in quotes, which just like blasted inline styles into your web controls, which was an abomination, by the way. So we won't be doing that again. Today, I kind of tell people, use Bootstrap or Skeleton or want your favorite CSS framework, and then grab a theme designed for those things, rather than looking to the ASP.NET team to build a theming engine or something like that. We don't have any plans to do that. We kind of sit the layer below that. I don't see any other questions in the chat. So if you want to, oh, hang on, let me just scroll to the bottom. Is there new stuff coming on Razor pages that hasn't shipped on the previous prototype? This is from Hisham. Let me think. It'll only be minor stuff. So basically, the prototype is pretty a pretty good representation of functionally so the big rocks of what we're trying to do there. There will be some sort of little things that we'll tweak and that we'll add as we bed down the Razor Pages product and sort of build apps on top of it and identify a boilerplate. I'm really big with these types of APIs on getting the basic functionality in, building a bunch of samples, and then looking at the samples like by building more than one and saying, well, gee, this code seems to appear an awful lot in all of these samples. Maybe there should be a built-in helper method or a built-in abstraction or a built-in feature of whatever shape it takes that basically avoids this boilerplate, or at least makes it easier to do. So we will go through that process, and I think we'll end up with a few things as a result of that. Not sure if I missed it. Just transitioning. Okay, that's a question for John. That's not a technical question. That's it. I don't really see any more technical questions coming through. So
cool. There is a debugger that ships with Visual Studio products in VS Code and Visual Studio proper.
A debugger or the debugger?
Well, it's the .NET Core, .NET debugger component.
Okay.
And it was shipped with JetBrains Writer, which is another external third-party IDE that people use to do .NET Core. But it's closed source. The API it calls is open source, but the debugger itself instance is closed source. So it was shipped, and then it was unshipped with the last update to their stuff. And a lot of people got confused and frustrated with that. It was a series of communication misunderstandings and a point of confusion between multiple companies. And we're actively on the phone with JetBrains, and we're working to get a solution that works with everyone. So be cool. We have the right people on the phone with the right people, and we will figure out a way to get it so that people can do the debugging that they need to do with .NET Core. But just wanted to let people know that we are actively talking to our friends at JetBrains, and it's all friendly and happy and genial, and largely a series of points of confusion. So should have something to talk about soon, and let you know that we're trying to do the right thing. Okay? Cool.
Cool.
All right. Where's the 3D printer?
Have you done any 3D printing recently?
You know, I haven't. It's funny you mentioned that. I was out of town for a while, so I haven't done any 3D printing, which means that I'm wondering if I've clogged it. Like, I don't know if there's a thing, like, you know how if you don't use your inkjet printer?
Yes.
So
inkjet printers are the devil. I don't care if they're inkjet, laser.
Inkjet printers are the printers. If you don't print every 20 minutes, I will say I did buy on, I think was it you, Damien? Someone told me to stop getting on the inkjet printer treadmill. So I bought a color laser printer at Costco.
Yes, I have a color laser. I don't touch inkjets.
Hang on. Holy crap.
What?
It's so much better.
Thank you. I'm glad I could.
What was I doing?
I don't know what you were doing with your life. For 10 years you had a color inkjet.
I was wasting my life on inkjet printers, and it was depressing me. And I got a color. It wasn't too expensive. And here's the thing. I bought it a year ago. I haven't bought any ink.
Yep.
You know
so
I mean?
I've had mine for 7 years now. It's one of the first things I bought when I moved to America. And I have replaced the toner cartridges once.
Yeah. Wow.
Now it's expensive. It'll be a couple $100.
Yeah, it's $150 to replace the cartridges.
But
ink
Ballerina Batman is very positive about this.
I love it.
So, yes, color laser printer. I got it at Costco. I think it was $300. It's amazing, and my kids' reports that they take to school look better than the other kids' reports, and makes them feel bad. So
yeah, and someone's asking, what about glossy photo printing? We just use Walgreens. So if we need to print photos, we go on the website. You pay your 23 cents or your 12 cents or whatever it is per print, and you do it all online. Then you go down to Walgreens 2 hours later, and you pick up your color prints. We don't need to print them at home anymore. It's not worth the pain of dealing with ink. It's just not worth it. And there's nothing worse than waiting 3 minutes for a nice color photo like print out at home, and then have something go wrong halfway through, or you bump the printer and it smears, and that was a waste of $4 of ink that I just went through. Like, it's just, done it. Horrible. And if you don't need color, as Nick is saying, a black and white laser printer is like $80. Like, this is a no-brainer. This is a no-brainer now. Like, if you need a printer at home, and not everyone does, but if you have kids, it kind of helps with school. And my wife does like Girl Scout cookie things, so she needs to print out forms and all that type of stuff. Like, they live off the printer. I hate printers with a passion, but we have to have one. So yeah, that's the other thing I did this weekend. I ran a 30-foot network cable from the network port in the kitchen to the where the printer is in the little sort of office next to the kitchen, because I had been using one of those power line network things to do the print. It was all right, but it was just, every now and then it would stop working, and I'd have to my wife would be like, oh, the printer doesn't work, and I'd have to go and like do the unplug dance for 5 minutes to get it working again. And then inevitably what would happen is the printer would decide that was a good time to lose its DHCP lease, so the port would change, and then no one could print because they had to go and reset up.
I had that problem too, and my new thing is static IPs for everybody.
I know. Reserving static IPs for printers is obviously a better way of doing it. But now I have a physical cable.
I don't do it static. I do it, what is it, DH maximum
lease, reservation, right?
Yeah, reservation. And then I named it printer.
Nice.
I have a server in the house called server and a printer called printer, and that solves most of my
No, I totally agree.
My new thing with my printer, and I wish you'd told me more about this laser printer thing earlier, because I
have to just get it. It's so good.
But the cool thing my printer does do, it's an HP and it has an email address. And so anytime my wife or kids are complaining I can't see the printer, I just say, just forward your email to it.
Any attachment,
it just prints it.
Going to start emailing your printer.
Can you print from your phone, Scott? I can actually print from
I
my
have to
Android phone.
I have to whitelist you as a sender.
Cool. I've got AirPrint or whatever, which is cool.
Nice.
AirPrint is actually super convenient. I've been brushing my teeth, check my email, see a PDF, print it from my phone, go downstairs and grab it off the printer.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And by the way, we don't want to hear any comments from you all people in the peanut gallery who are telling us, I don't even print. Who prints anymore, right? I do everything digital.
Like I said, if maybe if you have single, you live at home by yourself, or it's just two adults, you don't need to print. But
people are asking me to get the model of the printer. One moment, please.
Okay. Mine is a Samsung for what it's worth, but I bought it 7 years ago. It's a CLP 315 wireless. The wireless is terrible, so I don't use it because if you connect it to the Wi-Fi network, when it goes to sleep, it doesn't wake up again. So that is just pointless. So I have to connect a physical cable for it to be reliable. But yeah, it prints just fine for what I need, and the toner cartridges I can get on Amazon, and I've only had to do it twice. But Scott's is a
Color LaserJet Pro MFP
multifunction printer.
M277C6.
So that's an HP.
Yes.
Because it's a LaserJet.
It's just funny.
There it is.
Why is it funny? Because we're geeking out about printers.
It's so good.
And you're like, oh, so that's
How much did that one cost you, Scott? Was that a couple $100?
I think it was like $300. I got it on sale and I coupon stacked.
Nice.
Always about the coupon stacking.
So yours has a scanner in it then as well, because it's an MFP.
It's $70 off at Costco right now.
And it has a fax. Does yours have a fax?
It has a fax.
MFP?
It has a
That's awesome. I don't have an MFP. Mine's just
the thing that's crazy about it is that they have a high yield cartridge.
Yes.
That's
same with the Samsung.
It's $100. It does 2,800 pages, which is like a whole tree's worth.
Yeah, so I've only had to replace, like I said, the toner cartridges once.
Yeah, $300.
And then I had to replace the waste. There's like a waste toner bin.
Oh.
That's a user replaceable part, and I had to do that last year because it stopped working, and I'm like, why is the printer not working? And I opened it up, and I knew there was this other part, and I printed out like a status page thing, and I was like, oh yeah, you need to replace the thing. I ordered on Amazon. It was like $17. Pulled the other one out, put it back in, and it all started working again. So 7 years out of a printer that sits just out in the open in a house with no special maintenance. I mean, that is pretty amazing. If it makes it 10 years, I'll be, as someone who used to work in a computer shop, like back in the 1990s and the 2000s, and we had technicians in our store who were specially trained on how to fix and service laser printers, and we had special vacuum cleaners for vacuuming our toner, and like laser fuses was xenon gas was coming out of them, and now it's just like $200, $100. You buy one and it lasts for 5-10 years.
It's scandalous.
Like seriously, printers are the devil, but they're not as devilish as they used to be if you just spend the money on the laser printer. But yeah, anyway, all right, we've spoken too much. It's 11 o'clock. I should be in a meeting. So I am going to zoom in.
Oh shoot!
What?
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm just sitting here looking and realizing all the meetings we're missing.
All right. So engage.
Oh, actually, before you say that,
Zoom? Okay.
So Hunter went into like Microsoft Outlook Mail or whatever, and there's this new feature for enterprises that shows you like what it's like a. Thank you, Damien.
Just the analytics thing.
It's the analytics thing, and basically
it says you spent 26 minutes doing email in meetings today.
Yeah, and it's basically like he's just showing me all of the failure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a new feature
saying all I do is in meetings now.
Yeah.
True.
Okay. That was good.
All right. Are you really going to do that?
Yeah. Well, this is the most dramatic way to do a zoom out. You have to do a zoom in first.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm ready for my close-up.
This is really concerning. You're very pixely, just in case you want to know.
There should be a tracking shot. That's what I work up to. Oh,
I need to get it. It does move. Hang
on.
Pixely. I can do multiple buttons at a time. I wonder if it does multiples at a time.
People have already hung up on you at this point.
Here we go.
Because they don't know what's zoom out. This is going to become the picture that we use.
You can't send two things at the same time.
We need to lock on Damien to do that.
You can't push. You can't use WASD and push W and A at the same time.
It's exactly. There's no key cording on this infrared remote.
You're surprised. You're surprised at the $1 remote control.
I'm not that surprised. All right.
That was it. That was the zoom out. Okay. That was the saddest zoom out I've ever seen. All right. See you later.